As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Walk the long gallery of the past, of empires and kingdoms succeeding each other without number." And you can also see the future, for surely it will be exactly the same, unable to deviate from the present rhythm. It's all one whether we've experienced 40 years or an eon. What more is there to see? Lucius stood by the marble balustrade, watching the sun dip below the 7 hills of Rome. Behind him, the young tribune, Cassius, paced the floor, his energy vibrating against the quiet calm of the private library. Cassius was flushed with the thrill of a recent triumph. A new emperor had taken the throne that morning, promising reforms that Cassius insisted were revolutionary, a dawn of an age never before seen in the world. "It is a completely new world, Lucius," Cassius declared, his hands gesturing wildly at the sprawling city below. Whatever came before was stagnation. Now, we shall see justice and order such as the gods have never witnessed. We are breaking the mold of history. Lucius turned slowly, his joints clicking with the friction of 80 winters. He offered a melancholic smile and beckoned the young man toward the wall of shelves, where honey-colored scrolls rested in hexagonal slots like sleeping bees. "Pull that one," Lucius commanded softly, pointing to a crumbling vellum casing near the floor. "It details the rise of Sulla, long before your birth." Cassius unrolled the parchment and read the opening lines. He frowned. The promises of restoring order, the purging of corruption, the clamor of the people for a strong hand, the specific phrases, were nearly identical to the speech the new emperor had delivered just hours ago. "Now this one," Lucius said, handing him a translation of ancient Athenian history. "Read of the demagogues of Greece. Cassius read of a leader who promised to strip the wealthy to feed the poor, only to become a tyrant himself. The rhetoric, the rhythm of the crowd's adoration. The inevitable cycle of rise and ruin. It was the same melody, played on a different instrument." Lucius walked back to the window. "You look at the timeline of history, Cassius, and see a straight line climbing upward into the unknown. You believe you are seeing something new. But I see a wheel." The old man leaned against a pillar, looking out at the forum. "I have lived 80 years. I have seen emperors rise like the sun and set like the moon. I have seen wars started for the sake of peace that ended in ash, and peace treaties that sowed the seeds of the next war. The names change, Caesar, Pompey, NATO, but the rhythm does not deviate." Cassius lowered the scroll, the fire in his eyes dimming into a thoughtful ember. He looked out at the crowds moving through the forum, realizing they were the same crowds that had cheered for 10 different men in the last century. "To have seen 40 years is to have seen an eon," Lucius whispered. "Greed, ambition, fear, and hope. These are the actors. History merely changes their costumes. Do not expect new sights, my boy. Expect only the familiar dance." This story illustrates a profound wisdom, that human nature and the patterns of history are constant, while technology, culture, or specific names may change. The underlying rhythm of human behavior, our ambitions, our conflicts, our triumphs, and our tragedies remains cyclical. If you can understand the fundamental nature of humanity as it exists today, you possess a key to understanding the past and the future alike. What seems new is often just a familiar story, dressed in modern clothes. What we perceive as a straight line of progress is often just another turn of the great wheel. If this story connected with you and gave you something to reflect on, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content that explores the deeper currents of history and human nature. Thank you for watching.